Well, good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana weather. It is about 8:22 a.m. Eastern Time here. It is Sunday, July the 27th, 2014. Today's video update is sponsored by Metal Magic in Washington. You can give Chad a call at 698-8555 for all of your paintless and repair needs. And of course, be sure to tell them Southern Indiana weather sent you. Write that number down, folks. We may end up needing that again. All right, current radar here in motion earlier this morning. We've had some severe weather overnight, just as I said on our Facebook and Twitter accounts last night. You can go back and take a look at that if you want. After the main line rolled through last night, I said we would still run the risk for some isolated warnings overnight. That is indeed what we saw. We had some warnings that rolled through here for DuBois, Crawford, and Perry counties and then pushed into Kentucky. And we've got one thunderstorm that went severe briefly here over Scott and Jefferson counties. But otherwise, it's just been some heavy rain for a large portion of us during the overnight hours. You can see that cold front starting to advance our way. As it advances our way later today, we will run the risk for some severe weather this afternoon again. Not a huge risk today. In fact, if we just take a look at our risk zone, the Storm Prediction Center has placed the moderate risk zone out of our area and to our east, but we are under a slight risk for severe weather today. And we go back to our categoricallys as to what probabilistic as what it says. 2% tornado risk today. I'm not worried about tornadoes at all. This is just something that they standard issue, a 2% risk anytime there's a slight risk for severe weather out there. I don't think we'll see any tornadoes today. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think the atmosphere is primed for it. Better chance most certainly out to our east there. Wind probabilities here rather. This would be our strongest threat today. The slight risk encompasses all of really does all of southern Indiana and most of Indiana for that matter. 15% low end slight risk, upper end slight risk here in your red, and the moderate risk out here 45%. And then we take a look at our hail probabilities, and again, your large 30% upper end slight risk swath of hail probabilities out here, but most of us stay in the 15% zone. Now, this is all due to a cold front that's moving through our area today. The cold front, as you know, is right out here by now, but by 2 o'clock, that low and the cold front will be moving through the area, and then that will push through the area during the late evening hours, and all of the risk for severe weather will go with it once that cold front has passed us. So it looks like an early afternoon thing, and then probably by mid-afternoon or so, the risk for severe weather should largely be over for the area, the way things look at this time, and we'll have to see whether that continues to hold or not. Let's take a look at future radar. We'll take a look at the high-resolution NAM first. NAM is not aggressive with severe weather chances at all today. In fact, it missed the boat. Here we are, what the high-res NAM said for about 8 a.m. this morning, where we're at right now. And notice it has absolutely no rain over southern Indiana. And we've had some severe warnings and everything else already. So this model, even 6 hours into it, is just already bogus. You can see that it detects very little rain and then blows it up to our east today. So I wouldn't trust a darn thing this model says right now, because it can't even get 6 hours right. So we'll take a look at some other models. Here's the HER model, which is the highest resolution model that we do have available. There's those storms that we see out there on radar right now. Placement is just a tiny bit off on there, but not too bad overall. And you can see as we put this into motion that here we just have some popcorn storms sort of firing here by 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The biggest threat comes down in Kentucky and off to our east there in West Virginia, as that cold front has probably already passed by the time this radar sees it. It doesn't see a whole lot for us. WRF NMM, which is another fairly good model too. This is another really high resolution model, and you can see there it is. There's that rain that we had early this morning, and it's all moved through. It did a fairly good job handling that, except that we really don't have this cluster out here. Other than that, it handled this cluster over here very well. Let's continue on to see how it does. And you can see by noon, here's 1 o'clock. Maybe we have some scattered thunderstorms in the area. And this seems reasonable to me, by the way, because that's when the cold front would be approaching the area. Secondary cold front approaching to our north, and then, of course, that everything pushes off to the east with time. We clear out for tomorrow. One final one, the WRF ARW, which also does a pretty decent job, generally speaking. There is that complex that was through last night. Here's through the overnight hours again. Off just a tiny bit in placement, but not bad overall. It's still got the idea certainly right there. And you can see again by noon, 1 o'clock, it's firing up some storms over here in southern Indiana and then sort of pushing them off. The biggest threat stays again to our south and our east with this model again today as well. So not a huge risk for severe weather today. It's certainly nothing that I would cancel your plans for, but just keep an eye to the sky today, folks. I do think some isolated warnings again this afternoon will most certainly be possible until that cold front has pushed through the area. Now, this cold front does mean business. We've been talking about the cool down for days now, but you can take a look at this. We forecast high temperatures near 90 today, but then look at this. Boom, we're down into the 70s the next couple of days. May even not break the 70s. I may even not break the 80 mark here potentially on Thursday. And then there's Wednesday, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can see low 80s, maybe even some upper 70s at times. But as far as the eye can see, we've got very pleasant weather coming up. So this is a welcome change. I'm not a muggy, hot, and humid weather kind of guy myself. So this will certainly be a welcome change for us. All right, southernindianaweather.com, folks. Let's take a look at your updated 7-day forecast. By the way, we do have some reasonable rates for some great ad spaces. You can email me at southerninwx@gmail.com for some complete details here, folks. Going to 89 today, sun and clouds mixed with some mix there, some scattered thunderstorms likely again. I think those severe storms are with the approach of a powerful cold front today, and it is a very question mark as to how severe these storms get. Slight risk, I do think, is justified, but by the early to mid-afternoon, I think most of that risk will go away once the cold front is passed, and that is certainly a good thing. You plan your day forecast sort of looks like this: 89 here in the Jasper area, 91 Evansville, 89 Tell City, 90 Madison and Corden, 88 Columbus, Bedford, and Vincennes. Now we'll go down to about 61 under partly cloudy skies tonight. By the way, hang on to your hats today because it's going to be breezy. Southwest winds 10 to 15 early, but that'll turn to the west, maybe even up to 25 miles per hour this afternoon. So it's going to be gusty. But then look at this. I'm only forecasting 77 degrees on Monday, partly cloudy with unseasonably cool temperatures. It's going to be a great, great, great week, folks. 78 on Tuesday, and then up to the low 80s the rest of the week. Rain chances do return by next weekend. Very isolated chances on Friday. Scattered chances again by Sunday. Folks, that is it for this edition of the video update. I'll keep an eye on it this afternoon. And of course, remember, any warnings or watches that do get issued today will automatically post to our Facebook and our Twitter accounts. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at SouthernINWX, and we will track those storms in order to keep you safe. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite for Southern Indiana Weather. Have a great day, folks. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you soon.